Coming at you live from two different places. This is a World Series pregame show. I don't have the board here. I have a mic. I hope I sound better. We're going to try to figure out echoey problem with Brooke. But you know what? We're here. We're in the World Series. And we got some sports ball to talk about. What's going on, guys? My name is Clint. You can find me as RealFRG on Twitter and Instagram. That other guy over there is Brooke. Find him as BrookMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. What is going on, man? How are you feeling on this fine Kershaw day?
I'm good. Any Kershaw day is a little stressful for Dodgers fans, just because you want him to succeed so badly. But feeling good. I like the matchup. I like Glasnow on the mound. I like a lot of it. This should be fun.
It's going to be fun. I mean, we just came off a very, very fun, stressful, painful, wonderful series. So, yeah, definitely going to be a lot of fun in this ball game. And the ball game, I believe. Oh, so I actually didn't confirm because I saw different numbers. I don't know if first pitch is 5:11. I don't know if it's like 5:08, 5:10, 5:09. Just turn it to Fox at 11.
It's
o'clock.
around then.
Put it on Fox at 11 or at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and you will see sports ball. You will see your baseball team, and you'll hear Joe Buck. You'll hear John Smoltz. I'm very sorry. Joe Davis was only on assignment for that one game, but we got to set up the series a little bit before we do. Let's find some comments. Tell me you have some goodies for us, Mr. Brook.
Yeah, Baseload over on YouTube says you two are looking very handsome today. And yeah, World Series game one, we got to stay fresh. I don't know if either of us did anything different than what we've been doing in the past, but Tim, friend of the show, Mr. Tim Rogers Kirsch, isn't my favorite player. We want nothing more than him to get his ring. And I think that's a pretty consistent theme throughout Dodgers fans. They really just want Kershaw to get his ring finally.
I feel Kirsch and JT, honestly. I mean, we could throw in Kenley for that too while we're at it. Whatever, just go whole hog. But also for us, we need a ring. We got to get our friend of the show, Eric, producer Eric, senior manager Eric for the Dodgers, his ring suit. Everybody gets a ring. So Ross Stripling will get a ring. So we got a lot of friends who would get rings out of it too. We would get accolades and happiness that we haven't felt in 32 years. Our friend Richard Hooker, I believe he was first in the stream today. We love Dick Hooker on Facebook. He says, "Get Kershaw some damn run support." It's been a huge problem with Clayton Kershaw throughout his postseason career, and it's definitely been very, very obvious so far this postseason.
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot harder to pitch with your back against the wall the entire time. So last game he was out there, he looked really good. Obviously, he got into that sixth inning. Things went very wrong for him, but that tends to happen when you don't really have any run support behind you whatsoever. So get those bats going, give him a couple run lead. He'll get it done. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, it's hard to pitch with your back against the wall and with back strain. So, we're hoping he's feeling healthy. We're hoping that he's looking good on the bump to start the game. Very different matchup here with this Rays. We haven't faced these guys since 2018, and the Rays go through wholesale changes just about every season. So a lot of new faces we're going to be seeing over the next at least 4 days or 5 days, 4 games. Katie's in the stream and says, "I truly feel good about the series and things going in the Dodgers' favor." So yeah.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, you got to feel good about it. I feel good about the series altogether. I think it's just going to be a fun series regardless over the next, week-ish or so.
Mm-hmm. So setting up the series here before we get into all the little minutia of the actual ball game. Dodgers got here on the back of a 43-17 record. Of course, we all know this. They led baseball in wins in the shortened oddball 2020 season. Swept their way through the Brewers, swept their way through the Padres. Improbable comeback from that 3-1 deficit in the National League Wild Card Series to take home the pennant over the Braves. Fun series, and the biggest question for the Dodgers is, can they keep that momentum rolling? They've rattled off three in a row. They needed to get here. The other side, the Rays, they were the best team in the American League, second best team in all of baseball, 40-20 in the regular season. Like I said, tops in the AL. They were able to sweep their way through our boys, Hyun-Jin Ryu and Chicken Strip over there for the Buffalo Blue Jays. They got through the wild card. And then they had to go the distance in back-to-back series. Struggled a little bit. They had to throw everything they had at the Yankees to get through it. Same thing with the Astros. Everything they had to get through the Astros to barely hang on to that 3-0 lead they had going in that series. a very tired team, I would imagine. How do you think the momentum going up against the tired plays out here in Game 1?
Yeah, I think that the Rays are definitely at a disadvantage coming into this game. I thought a lot of people complained that the Dodgers only got 1 day off, the Rays got 2 days off. It doesn't help, but I actually thought it ended up helping the Dodgers in the long run because you riding that wave like they've been talking about. I think playing consecutive games has actually worked out very well for the Dodgers and their momentum. You hope it carries over through the off day, but we'll still see on that one. But yeah, man, you look at these Rays and what they've had to do to run through all these teams. The bats have not gotten them there. The bats haven't gotten them this far. They've scored runs, obviously. They've had some big offensive outbursts from a few random dudes. But the pitching has really, really, really been relied upon heavily throughout the course of this postseason. And they have, I have got to imagine they're pretty gassed out by now. Can they get through an entire series effectively? Maybe. But, man, they have thrown a lot over the past couple days.
Yeah, you could say that really for both teams. But yeah, you're definitely spot on there. Kind of moving on, looking. I don't know. Should we do the roster or the chatter first here? Because there's sort of different angles to look at this. The roster is pretty simple. I'll do the roster first. Meet the new roster. It's the same as the old roster. Same 28 guys that were on the National League Championship Series for a roster for the Dodgers are there. So that's fine. Hopefully we don't see our friend Matt Beatty on the infield again at any point. Because Bader's Taters looked a little lost out there a couple of times, but celebration game was strong from everybody on there on that roster, and it's good. We didn't need to use everybody that often, and did you think it's the right call to go with the same lineup, the same roster here?
Yeah, I thought maybe we might see, a few arms changed in or out, but then when you look at who's on the taxi squad, who were the alternate options, there's not, there's nothing that stands out that you're like, why didn't they make that move? Might have considered not using Kolarek in this series just because if any team knows anything about Adam Kolarek, it's absolutely the Tampa Bay Rays. But other than that, didn't really surprise me. And the only thing that really surprised me was the fact that Dave was considering removing a pitcher at one point from the roster. That was the only thing where I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, but also maybe plays up into the matchups that the Rays want to do with their pitching staff. Rays have a lot of left-handed arms out of that bullpen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, notably, can't forget there is two built-in off days in this series, so there will be an off day on Thursday and an off day on Monday. So, you could get away with having that one less arm. I like you. I prefer they kept the 15 instead of going down to 14, but I'm not mad at the lineup at the roster, the pitchers mainly, because these guys they all bring something to the table, and if you can get something good out of Kolarek, I would still take Adam Kolarek over Scott Alexander, who doesn't have his feet wet at all in this postseason. You kind of got to ride him at this point. So yeah, let's find a few comments here. Get the fans involved, get the people involved. Michael over on Facebook says, I don't like exciting. I don't like close. I like Dodgers blowing them away. Seen both angles of it. You see the people, you hear the people talking about, this could be a 4-game or a 7-game series. And you also, see the calls that the Dodgers could sweep in 4. I don't think it's going to be a sweep in 4. We'll get to our predictions a little bit later. But, yeah. A big key is going to be what Veronica says here. Says, Coach Roberts, please know when to take the pitchers out. And we hope we got a taste of a new and improved Dave Roberts there in those final 3 games of the NLCS, like we were talking about in our pre-series preview yesterday on the podcast, full podcast. If you missed it, check it out. Blue Heaven, we're on all the platforms, but yeah, it's gonna be an important piece of the puzzle. There's knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to take a lot that he learned from that last series. Like we said, that's probably the best management that we've ever seen from Dave Roberts in his entire career was over the course of those last couple games. Bullpen-wise, roster-wise, lineup-wise, all those things. You're going to need every bit of that coming into the World Series. The Rays don't take the Rays for granted, guys. I know sometimes when you don't know much about a team, it's a lot easier to take them for granted, but the Rays are a very good squad. There's a reason why they're here.
Yeah, for sure. Katie says Kershaw gets 5 innings and that's it. I don't care if he's cruising or his pitch count is low. We cannot risk it. I don't think you can throw Kershaw 3 times through this lineup, through any lineup anymore, but especially in the postseason. I mean, hell, even one of the Rays batters said it's not that he's bad, he's just left in too long. Like, this kid knows Kershaw's postseason narrative. So if somebody else knows, the Dodgers should know by now. The computer should say, hey, he's historically bad in the postseason when he's facing the lineup for a third time. So the bullpen seems mostly rested up enough, but with us not really knowing what's going to happen in game two, there's definitely going to be some potential turning points in this game one that have big time carryover.
I think that's the biggest issue, is the fact that we don't know what's happening in game two. Add in the fact that you're getting Walker game three, so you have to have somebody ready to behind Walker just in case that blister becomes an issue. So if you get through the first 2 times through the lineup and you're still at a pretty low pitch count, I think that we're going to see Kershaw in there again. And I know that's not what you want to hear, and I know that's not what a lot of people would like to see, but unfortunately the situation that we're in probably dictates it, and it's probably going to happen because still we don't even know who's starting game two. We have an idea, but we don't know.
Yeah, the idea being probably maybe Julio Urias, but they might want to go the other way because so Dave said Dustin May is available tonight. I'm pretty sure they'd rather try to do something again where maybe he gets 2 or 3 innings out of, as a start in game two. I think they're looking at him more as a reliever in this series or opener in this series than a full-fledged starter. And I would say honestly that's how they're looking at May throughout the postseason. Julio's been brilliant as a bulk guy, as somebody who's getting you 3 or 4 innings, and we saw that as he closed out the NLCS. So again, it's not like we're at a struggle point where there are no options. It's not traditional options that people really love to be able to rest on, especially in the World Series. Digging into a few of the comments here, important ones. Jose Soto over on Facebook asks, hey guys, any news on what we get when you get a stolen base? It's a free taco. Taco Bell, shout out. Not a sponsor, but these people are, and that's where I'm going to mix in a promo because this is going to be a podcast too. So boom, post production. No Mo FOMO, very important question before we get into the chatter of the series. No Mo FOMO asks, what should I order for dinner? Brooke, you got any suggestions?
I have no idea where this person is or where they live, but if they live local, I would suggest food. Might I suggest food?
Wait. There. I think people are able to hear the bell. If not,
sure.
Whatever. We got Steven Brooks over in Australia on Facebook. Says one guy that feels like he needs to win this game is Kershaw. Good luck to Kershaw all the way from Australia. And man, like, you worry about that, having that need kind of resting on his shoulders. Does he think much about that? I mean, we're going to get more into Kershaw later on, a little bit later in the show, but put yourself in his shoes. How do you feel about that? Like, knowing that all this narrative, you're coming into this series, so much riding on the line, and you're the guy who's getting the ball first. What would your level of nerves be like, former high school catcher?
I mean, I would suck regardless, so it doesn't really matter what I feel like. But he's a pro. He's been here before. He's done this multiple times. This is not new for him. This is his, I believe, 3rd Game 1 World Series start in his career. I certainly don't think the moment's too big for him. I think that this version of Kershaw, you talk about the 2020 version, is the best that we've seen of the old Kershaw. And that's hard to quantify and hard to figure out where the lines cross. But I mean, I think after 2017, you can pretty much call him the old Kershaw. He's leaned into what he's good at, and he wasn't doing that before. He was trying to overpower people with his fastball still, something that he could do at 25, but you can't do in your 30s. And with a bad back, he's working that slider a lot better than he ever has in his career. He's going to that curveball less because he has good stuff that he can mix in. And now he's not getting rocked on that as much. So I think that this is the best version of the old Kershaw that we've seen so far. And so I don't think this moment's going to be too big for him by any means. And I'm hoping to see a very efficient outing from him.
Philip McLeod on Facebook says Kershaw's the best pitcher in this game, Hall of Famer already. Definitely has the Hall of Fame pedigree, but we hope he can change that postseason narrative finally, definitively, and officially starting today in Arlington, because they are in Texas, neutral site. A sailed loaner on YouTube. Perfect segue here because I wanted to talk about the chatter here. And a sailed loaner a few minutes ago said, looking at the payrolls, Tampa Bay, I think the full payroll in the non-pandemic season, $75 million payroll against LA's I think it's 253. I don't know what exactly the payrolls are, but we know it's Tampa Bay low, Dodgers high, and it is what it is. That's going to be a thing. I think Mookie was asked about that yesterday. Or it wasn't Mookie. It was little Andy F, old Andy Freeman, talking about, hey, either way, these people, they're going to get paid, or whether or not they're paid, they're still quality ball players. It's just some have been in the league for longer. And I don't think that the Dodgers shouldn't be given this like villain title just because they're actually paying their superstars as opposed to other teams like Oakland or Tampa Bay using up their best years of these kids and then just shipping away before they have to pay them. I think that's a more villainous move than what the Dodgers are doing. It's like, hey, Kershaw, hey, Kenley, hey, Justin Turner, you guys mean a lot to our organization. Would you like some money? I've never got that kind of narrative, but we're going to have to hear that a whole lot. Usually in World Series, especially when it's here in LA, we get a lot of hashtag shadows. This time it's going to be hashtag payrolls, and I'm going to be a little annoyed.
Yeah, I mean, there's just misconception that teams that are small market teams are at a disadvantage or competitively don't have the same, I don't know, fortunes that a bigger market team like the Dodgers do. It's not it's not our fault that the owners don't pay their players. That has nothing to do with it. You look at people are like, oh, the Dodgers bought their team or whatever. Mm-hmm. You look at the comparisons, and obviously that's not the case at all. We're mostly homegrown talent. We're relied on drafts and deep diving on prospects and things like that, and we grow mm-hmm. them and make them better. So it's really not fair to say that. You look at the revenue per team, and the Rays made $270 million in revenue last year in 2019. Obviously 2020 is different for everybody, yeah. But you can't look at that number and say that the Rays can't afford to have a high payroll. They can afford to have a high payroll. They're not broke. I know that's a common thing that people want to say, like, oh, they don't make money. Well, they don't have fans turn out to games either, and I don't understand that. But you can't take that and say that, oh, there's a disadvantage. It's different. I'm so tired of the small market mindset of like, you guys are Goliath. You're the bad guy. I'm like, it's not our fault we're the bad guy. We're just here. Yeah. What's the problem with us being here?
Yeah, both teams can have quality, talented players. It's just how far along they are into their career, and we know Tampa Bay goes out and finds players that are young and cheap and good, or find a way to make them good. The Dodgers find a way to make players good as well. We look at Chris Taylor, and you know what? They paid him instead of letting him walk. Just as one example, and we've seen that quite often. So that shouldn't be as big of a narrative as it's going to be, but that's probably going to be, book it right now within the first 2 minutes of the intro hype and all the bull crap they're going to talk about once it actually gets past 5 o'clock into game time. That's going to be right there. That's if that's not line number 1, it's line number 2, and then line number somewhere within the first 5 is, oh, Kershaw blah 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 postseason. It's like they're very lazy. All these national broadcasters are very lazy with that. So blah.
That's the thing about being on the biggest stage, is that normally people who know the Dodgers talk about the Dodgers, and they're the ones who get the spotlight to talk about the Dodgers. You get our guys like Spectrum, you get the Hairstons, you get the Garcia Parrs, the people who watch these guys every single day. Then suddenly it shifts to a national stage, and people who have never talked about the Dodgers all year long, don't know anything about their players, don't know anything about their prospects. They're suddenly in the spotlight talking about the Dodgers, and you're like, yeah, that sounds about right. You don't know anything about this team, and it's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Mookie Betts in the stream, our friend, the real Mookie Betts on YouTube. You got a game to be playing, Mook, but it's not the Dodgers' fault that their fans go to games, unlike the Rays. Hatfield backs that up. Brian Hatfield, are also another buddy of the stream here, says it's tough to drive fans into the stands when their players change every year. You spend $80 on a jersey for a player that's going to be gone in a season and a half at most. So you have this vicious cycle of BS that they like to say, oh, we're trying to build from within and all this kind of stuff. Like, no, you're not. You're just trying to maintain the status quo, keep your pockets lined, and keep a competitive enough baseball team on the field to succeed enough. But enough on that. Notably, the Dodgers are heavy favorites in this series. I think that goes on a lot on the star power because we do have a name like Mookie Betts. He's been in the league, so he's earned his money. You know, the other guys have this Randy kid, Randy Arozarena, who's a very good ball player that they were able to pluck away from St. Louis for nothing because he had some kind of history, we'll call it. And
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's him, you know, if Randy Arozarena was 7 years into his career, guess what? He'd be getting paid, but he's not. So BS, blah blah blah. Dodgers still have better, are the heavy favorites because there is a star power. So it's a thing, money, whatever. I guess it kind of goes into the money thing. Enough of that. I shouldn't even brought up the topic. I want to bring up ballpark because I did see it as a comment to somebody asking if the Rays had played here before. No, the Rays have not been to this ballpark. This ballpark was just opened this year, and it's a pandemic year where everybody was playing in their regions. So this is the ultimate meeting in the middle ballpark for both of these franchises, which is kind of funny. You know, the not the World Series, but the Nation Series in a way.
Yeah, East Coast versus West Coast. It's kind of funny that they put it right in the middle of the country, and two teams from opposite sides of the country happen to go right in the middle. Kind of works out.
So you got to think Dodgers. You got to think the Dodgers have that advantage from being here for the last couple of weeks. But of course, the Rays play in a domed field with turf. So where does the field competitive advantage lie for you?
AJ Pollock, I think, is probably one of the best judges of this. He played on Arizona turf, which is almost it's almost identical to the turf that's in Texas. I don't even know what it's made with, some sort of coconut husk or some crap like that. I don't know all the weird details of the turf, guys, but he basically said was like, yeah, I mean, it plays pretty true. If there was something that stood out about it to me, you would know, and I would definitely say something. Yeah. He's like, but I mean, it plays true. There's nothing about it that is different. He's like, I like it. It's a nice park. Good. So I think in that sense that the Rays, they don't hold an advantage or disadvantage having not played here and having played on their own turf. I don't think it goes either way. I think that's a wash. I do think that the Dodgers have the advantage in the outfield. The outfield is very strange at Globe Life Field for a lot of reasons. Down left and right field, you got those strange things that seem to like jut out onto the field and seem to catch a lot of doubles down the line and rebound them back towards the infield, which resulted in a couple triples. I think that's an advantage that the Dodgers know that it's there. But other than that, the only other difference is that the park plays a lot bigger. And so the Rays coming from San Diego, where the balls were absolutely flying out, to Texas, where they're flying out depending on the day, is going to be a learning curve for them. So you might see them look like we did the first couple of days here.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely have that big time competitive advantage of, hey, these guys have made a bunch of plays already, highlight plays, shirt worthy plays. So that's up there. There's a lot of things you want to like for the Dodgers, but we don't want to get that hyped on it yet because we're scared as Dodger fans, just in general.
I'm always scared. I was born scared.
Brian asks, we got Brian Pantoja on Facebook, says Belly's injured shoulder. Mother effing concerned someone talked me off the ledge. Do you think they're trying to undersell this shoulder thing? Kind of share the details that you know with the fine folks here and give your opinion on where you think it's at.
Yeah, it sounds like his shoulder's already taped up. They talked about the possibility of him wearing a brace during the game, which is, I mean, it's never encouraging. It is his lead, it's his extending arm. So there's some things to go with that. That's not where his power's coming from necessarily. Mm-hmm. I almost, as strange as this sounds, I almost hope that it works out in his favor. And by that, I mean, I hope he's not trying to dong every ball that he hits. And that's when he really gets in his own head and gets out of himself and becomes a bad hitter when he's trying to do that. So, maybe this plays into it. Maybe it plays into it in a positive way where he's got to be thinking about going the opposite way, dropping down bunts, just good, clean hitting. We'll have to see, but it turns out he was on the field taking batting practice. A lot of people said he looked fine. He didn't look like he was in pain. He wasn't like picking up his shoulder and rotating it when you often do when you're hurting. So I'm not personally too worried about it, but never a good thing to hurt yourself celebrating. That's for sure.
I hope you successfully talked folks down off of that ledge. A little bit back in the comments here. I see a couple of questions. I got my buddy Ernie Mota in the streams. We got Mota, and we got another one, Alex, asking, "What are we drinking tonight? What is the beer of choice tonight? Are you sticking with the old faithful for this show so far?"
I got to go Coors. Like I got to keep going Coors nonstop. I don't know what else. It's worked so far, right? I mean, since I got Coors, we haven't lost. I'm pretty sure.
Got to have rally Coors, guys. You got to have rally Coors. We got Orlando's drinking Dos Equis. I'm gonna have Modelo because I got a bunch out in the back. I did have a birthday over the weekend, and birthdays involve beer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. On the payroll talk, I like my friend Stacy. She says that's like saying women aren't as good of employees because we're paid less. So boom, boom. There you go. Thank you, Stacy. So the Rays, just because they're paid less, they're also a very talented team. Just remember that, guys. You got any other comments you want to get before we get into the lineups here or the starting matchup?
No, I want to jump into this matchup because
All right.
there's a lot of things to like about it. Obviously, you got Kershaw on the bump for us. People will feel how they feel about that, but you know, D-May is an option for tonight if you need to be plugged in behind Kershaw. I really like what they're doing with Dustin May, aside from that start that he got strangely in Game 7. I do like how they're using him, though. Basically using him as like what would normally be a bullpen day for him on his scheduled starts.
Yeah. No, it's a good call with that, honestly. Hold on, wait. I have the graphic up here. But yeah, on the Kershaw side here, another Game 1 start. Does he rewrite that story? Does he rewrite the narrative tonight?
Yeah, I think he does. He's got one really, really good World Series start against a bunch of cheaters, and one really, really bad World Series start against, I guess, arguably a bunch of cheaters too. But jury's still out on that one.
Yeah, the ERA is not great in the postseason, and it's much worse in Game 1s. But he was also pretty good in the wild card and division series. Just had a bum back and kind of had a little bad luck in Game 2, so of the championship series. So I'm pretty confident in him. I hope we don't need to see D-May because, like I did mention, Doc Roberts today said Dustin May is available tonight if needed. Really hope that's not the case. I'd rather see him get used elsewhere and kind of maybe bridge the gap with score enough points, as Dino might say, so we can get Dylan Floro in there. Just have a little bit of a break for our bigger arms. Give Bruce our day off, or if you need him in there or whatever. We know Kenley's had a few more days rest than all that too. So it you hope he can get a little bit of length and we can get enough run support to change it up for him, or just give a little bit more rest. Some long-wind way of getting around to that. Back on the other side, big note about Glasnow, the tallest player in baseball right now. Huge thing, because a lot of people are going to be asking, they're going to see this tall mofo on the mound. Dude is 6'8", for those asking, or for those wondering, he's 6'8", and yes, that is tall. He has one of those business cards he hands out.
Yeah, he's a big kid. He didn't play basketball, etc., etc. Throws freaking hard, really freaking hard. But you look at the matchup, you look at the pitch mix that he has. I like the Dodgers lineup against Tyler Glasnow today. That fastball can reach triple digits when he's amped up. He's pretty much hitting triple digits every time. It will slow down throughout the course of the game, probably sit somewhere 97, 98. He throws it like 60% of the time, though, and then mixes in curveball, 35% of the time, and maybe a changeup very, very, very sparsely. So you look at his pitch mix, you look at the difference in speeds of those two pitches. Very, very Max Fried-esque, but from the other side. So I think that the Dodgers have a good matchup against him. I think that their bats are going to match up well against him. I think Jock matches up particularly well against him. I like this today. I like it a lot.
Moving into the lineup side of thing, guys, and this will be the time we will ask officially. Go ahead and start dropping your predictions, your picks to click, who you think's going to hit a homer, series predictions, all that kind of stuff. And hopefully at the end of this, we get to look back at it happily and say everybody was right, or most of us are right, or whatever it is. Dodgers lineup, boom, let's put it up on the screen here. Nothing really changes. You got the Kershaw special, the playoff A B is in the lineup. Austin Barnes, uh, Cody's in there. Will Smith at DH, Jock in left field, which I know you like a little bit more than AJ Pollock in left field. So Pollock sits today against the speedy right-hander. But Taylor, who's also nursing an ankle issue, he's in there at second base. Not much to hate about this lineup against the 100-mile-an-hour arm of Glasnow.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument, I guess, if you're looking to nitpick this lineup a little bit. You're like, hey, I want to see Eddie Rios in there. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think what you're getting today is pretty solid, top to bottom. Love. We've talked about it multiple times. We love the fact that you can put Austin Barnes in there and have Dave be ballsy enough to still use Will Smith as a DH.
Yeah,
I keep loving that. I haven't stopped loving that. Can't happen every game for obvious reasons, but I don't know. I think it's a good move. I like that you get Austin in there for Kershaw. I think he's a much better partner for him than Will Smith is. You still get, I like Belly down there in the 6 hole. I think it works well for him. I like Will Smith being in there every single day as a bat, no matter what, because he's hitting the ball hard as hell. People hate Max Muncy batting cleanup, but man, you look at production and things that he's done that don't necessarily jump out at you on the bottom line. And Max Muncy has been extremely valuable to this team.
yeah, he's been fantastic. He's getting on base, which was the big thing. But when we're heading into the postseason, we were big on that narrative too of Max batting cleanup for the first week of postseason baseball, and all of a sudden you look up now, his numbers are fine. He's getting on base over a 450 clip since the division series, 434 clip all throughout the postseason, and his OPS 972 on base plus slugging since the NLDS. So while he's not always finding grass, he's absolutely getting the job done. The right kind of guy to keep the line moving in these situations. And I understand, you look at him, and he's coming up with a lot of runners on base, and not always getting the job done. He's facing a lot of really, 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 really tough left-handed pitchers as well. And I think that messed him up a lot in the what do they call that? The championship series against the Braves. But still, when you look all told, pile everything up, look at that line. It's like, yeah, I'm down to have that in my lineup. Especially, he's not going to get your traditional slug, traditional grass, like the perfect prototypical number 4 hitter. But if he's somebody who's doing like a number 2 or a number 6 man's job in that 4 spot, I'm very happy with what Max is doing to help the Dodgers in this lineup.
I like him. He's my click to pick today, by the way. That's going to be the guy that I go with. I think Muncy gets a hold of one tonight.
Well, if I'm going somebody, who do I got to pick? I mean, it'd be weak to go Seager. You know what? I'm going to pull a Brook. I'm going to go with the catching core. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm taking 2 of them. I'm going to say somebody in the catching core, if not both, is going to get it done. It's a Barnes or Smith. I'm taking a twofer. That's right. That's America right there for you guys.
That counts. You're allowed to take the catching core. That's a rule.
A few before we get into the other teams lined up, let's take a few of the comments here, a few of the predictions. Let's see, we got Will Smith slug, a lot of letters and numbers. Slug something is saying Will Smith. Nomo Fomo saying Mookie will mash. Katie's saying Dodgers in 6. I guess we have a Padres fan somewhere in the stream, so get on out of here. It's not the time, but we always appreciate anybody who wants to join us. Jim is saying Mookie is due to go yard. Jock is clutch in the World Series, so that's also a good couple to click right there. Raul says Dodgers in 5. Max 6. Leslie says Dodgers in 5 as well. We got Tim. Tim is saying Dodgers in 6. We got Orlando 5. Tonight's game is going to go 8-4 Dodgers way, according to Judith on Facebook. Trent says 6-4 Dodgers. Kirsch gives up 3 and goes 5, which I wouldn't be overly upset with, even though it doesn't look good on the line. It's still a productive outing. Our boy El Cariza is saying Barnes is going to get destroyed by Glasnow. You think Barnesy, Mookie powered Barnesy can catch up to 100 mile of cheese?
Barnes has not looked good on anything over 95 for a long time. So, if he's sitting 100 miles an hour, he might get a hold of one.
Well, you hope he's sitting on one then, and just let him get beat by curveballs. Sit fastball. Austin, sit fastballs all day long.
All day.
Uh,
Actually, you know what? Just tell the whole lineup to sit fastballs all day long. Let's just do it that way.
yeah, that's a good call. Might as well. I'll get you on the phone with Brant Brown real quick.
Thank you.
Soul Bro One says, "How about another 11-0 first?" Sure. I mean, are you in on that? I think you're in on that.
I'm down. I'll take it. I'm not gonna have mine.
Looking at the other side of the lineup, let's go ahead and throw the Rays lineup on there. And these are a lot of names that we don't know. A lot of people don't know, and we're going to learn about them tonight. How did these guys fare against Kersh? We've talked about it, but once again, seeing the lineup, seeing the names, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys haven't seen a bunch of Clayton Kershaw in their careers. You look at all of them, and Hunter Renfroe and Manny Margot. Those are two guys who have seen a lot of them, or I'm comparatively have seen a lot of them. But yeah, I mean, these are just again a lot of guys that you don't know. The Rays throughout the course of the year have done really well on hitting curveballs, so I think that you're going to see less curveballs mixed in. He already doesn't throw as many curveballs as he used to.
Nope.
But if he can get that slider working tonight and that fastball dotted, the Rays are in trouble, man. As long as he can get those two things locked in.
Put your faith, put your trust in Clayton Edward Kershaw. He will do something good for you tonight. My buddy Tristan is in the stream, and he's asking, how is Muncie's face? Because he got hit pregame. I guess he took an awkward hop doing some infield drills and took one off like the face cheek area. And he went in, got checked out. He's fine. He's still remaining in the lineup. Everything looks good. He was taking batting practice not long afterwards. So good on the Mad Max. He feels no pain.
He's too strong for it.
What is your prediction for the series? Give me some good news.
You know what? I'm gonna play it conservatively because anytime I go aggressive, it never goes well. I'm gonna say Dodgers in 6.
All right, well then I'm gonna go aggressive. Dodgers sweep, baby. Let's go.
Not even like a gentleman sweep.
Nope. I'm gonna eat
right.
those words, aren't I?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be a clip at the end of some Rays thing.
I say that being actively overdoing it because I it's probably gonna be a 5-game at best, but hell, why not? Let's go with the sweep. Sometimes it just happens. Dodgers have the momentum. The Rays are tired. A lot of things line up that way. Who's your World Series MVP?
Oh man, World Series MVP. That's tough. You know, I'm gonna go very not traditional, and I'm gonna say that Julio is the World Series MVP.
Damn, I was gonna go that
Yep.
way too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at that. Hey, you want to host a podcast
So now he has
together?
to be the World Series MVP.
Hell yeah! Hey, you guys can brook it right there. What's up, gaming? Says Seager or Bellinger. That's also a good call. My buddy Johnny says Bellinger. What's his name? The other one, Corey Seager. That's his name. Final one I wanted to get to because I saw it here and I wanted to give you a chance to slightly rant before we take off. Brandon Seal on Periscope says, "What's up with the narrative of the Dodgers window closing?" Talked a little bit about it last night, but go ahead.
I don't understand what they mean when you say that the Dodgers window is closing. You can't mean talent-wise on this team. There's no way in any sense of the word that you can mean that. You can mean that the competition's getting better. You can mean that. I don't mind that at all. I don't hate that. You could argue that the Padres are going to be much better over the next couple of years. You can argue that the Giants are going to be good in like 5 more years. You can make all of these arguments. I don't mind those at all. But to say that the Dodgers window is closing, to say that Kershaw's aging out, to say that JT's aging out, to say that Kenley's aging out, those are not the 3 guys that got us here. Those are not the 3 guys that made this season happen. You look at the guys who have made a difference. Cody, Corey, Mookie, all these guys are under 30 years old still. You know, the oldest one is Mookie. He's 28. You still have 12 more years of him and, you know, probably 8 more really good years from him, give or take. I don't understand how you can say the window's closing. I don't understand how you can go on and talk about how good of the young pitching staff that the Dodgers have, even in their farm system still, that should be probably at a major league level already, and then say that the window's closing. I don't get it. I don't understand it. A-Rod said it. I don't expect smart things from A-Rod. It happens when you play in New York. I get it. But still, just a bad opinion.
Hey, man, you know how it is. Sometimes you get the microphone in front of your face and you just say things and you don't know what you're saying. Words just vomit out. And that's how A-Rod made his career, his post-playing career, is just vomiting words in front of a camera because idiots give him money to. So if you guys want to give us money to, go ahead. DM us. But on that note, I'm seeing a lot of Mookie for MVP. No Mo FOMO says Mookie MVP or co-MVP with Will Smith. Yeah, a number of Mookies in there. We got Trent saying Walker Bueller MVP, also not a bad pick. Juiced Lee says, I'm nervous, Papa Brooke and Papa Clint. Like I knew I didn't want to read the comment, but I had to read it because it was just
That's good. That's quality,
so good.
yeah.
And the final one I wanted to do here, our boy Doug McCain, host of the DN postgame show, says Dodgers in 5, Mookie MVP. Let's go. So on that note, wherever you are watching this pregame that you are watching, you guys can tune in right after the game. Click on the buttons. You can watch the post-game show. So you can be happy with Doug or you can be mad with Doug. And he's going to take all your comments, all your fire takes, and, make some magic with it with you guys for hopefully, 4 more wins here in October. But we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us today. We're going to be here before every game, so let's get 4 more dubs along the way. This will also be a podcast, so if you're listening as a podcast during the game, cool. That's all I got. Find us on the internet. There's a whole bunch of Dodgers content there at DodgersNation.com. Podcast is Blue Heaven Podcast. We're on iTunes or everywhere podcasts can be found. Spotify's a good spot. Subscribe to YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/DodgersNationTV, or just search for Dodgers Nation. We come up there. We have a lot of content going up on that as well, so hit that notification bell while you're at it. That guy, you know what? You do that. You know our names. You go ahead.
I know my name, guys. I am Brooke. You can find me at BrookeMe3 on Twitter and Instagram. That guy around there on the other side of me somewhere is at RealFRG. We're at Dodgers Nation on Twitter, at Officials Dodgers Nation on Instagram. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for being here every single day that we get to do this. You guys make it all worth it, even though we're tired and we haven't slept in a long time and we're really dying, but we appreciate you. We love you. We love hanging out with you. Go Dodgers. Go Clayton Kershaw. Give me a dub.
We're in the end game now, kids. Hey.